And this one really touched me when he says, I have not come to speak on behalf of any particular sect, creed or religion like the Hindu religion. I have come to awaken the divinity that is latent in each and every one of you. Continue your worship of your chosen God along the lines already familiar to you. There is no need to change your chosen form of God and adopt a new one when you have seen me or heard me, for all names are mine and all forms are mine. He says, I have not come to disturb or destroy anyone's faith, but to confirm each in his own, so that the Muslim becomes a better Muslim, the Hindu becomes a better Hindu, the Christian becomes a better Christian. So when I used to go to bhajan sessions, one thing that was very noticeable, I'm only hearing Hindi songs. On the altar there are only Hindu murtis and pictures. I could not even understand the significance. But nothing of Islam. I'm not hearing anything of Christianity. And I said, Swami, but this does not sound right. You are saying that we should sing the glories of God in all the languages and a variety of tunes. So lovingly I went to the center president and I said, sir, I don't think this is reflecting Swami's universal message. Why can't we have on the altar something of Islam and something of Christ, and include in the singing the glories of Christ, the glories of Almighty Allah? And little by little, sometimes we were met with a great amount of opposition, but I firmly believed that the universality we must reflect in our satsangs. And so little by little we started to introduce the Islamic prayers and the Islamic songs and the Christian songs and the Christian prayers. Because just as me, if you're a public Sai Baba center and a Christian comes and sits at the back, would he feel connected to Christ? If a Muslim comes and sits at the back, would he feel connected to Almighty Allah when we are only singing bhajans? And this really affected me because I was also experiencing it. Then one day I invited a Christian lady to one of the satsangs, and she calls me the next day and she said, Fize, I thought you told me this was universal. Then one day my friend met me on the street. He had not seen me for many years. He said, Fize, where are you worshipping now? I said, well, I'm a member of the Sai Baba organization. You know what he said? He said, that Hindu thing. I said, hey Krishna, this is how people on the outside are viewing us. So little by little, my dear brothers and sisters, through the Bal Vikas especially, we started to introduce Islamic prayers and songs, Christian prayers and Christian songs. And now, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have 1.3 million people with 52 centers. And in all of the centers now, when you go to a Sai Baba satsang, the lead singers can sing bhajans, Islamic songs and hymns. If you're a Sai lead singer, you're supposed to be able to sing all, isn't it? And now we have bhajans, qasidas and hymns. We no longer call it bhajan session, we call it devotional singing session. Where Islamic songs, we have a picture of the Kaaba, we have a symbol of Islam, a picture of Christ, and we sing all the songs now, reflecting the universality of Sai's message. But not only must it be outwardly, Bhagwan says your universality must also come from within. So ask yourself, what is the color of the Atma? What is the religion of the Atma? Is it Muslim? Is it Christian? Is it Hindu? Is it black? Is it white? The Atma is free from all these conditionings, because when you remove the apparent obstacles and differences, we are one in the spirit. So when Swami addresses us as embodiments of love, embodiments of the divine Atma, he's talking about our essential true reality. So we should not be entangled by the outward apparent differences, but focus on the universal message that Sai is in all. So as Sai devotees, it is our duty in our centers to reflect that message from within. So that we treat each other, regardless of color, creed, or religion, the same, because Sai is in all. And I want to deal with a misconception that people have about Islam. In practicing the teachings of Bhagwan, I have become a better Muslim. As he himself has said, now I understand La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Now I understand when the Holy Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, said, a man who knows himself knows God. Now I understand that Allah is closer to me than my jugular vein. There is a misconception that Islam is a religion of violence. The avatar of the age has said, Islam means, and Sai has said this, I shall love all mankind, Islam. Islam means peace. It is a religion that practices that. You may get one or two people with ulterior motives who have interpreted a verse or a word called jihad wrongfully. Jihad, the Holy Prophet Muhammad said, is not the outer battle, not the outer war, fighting those and killing those that are not of your belief. Jihad is the inner battle that goes through, that happens every day in our lives, the battle of good over evil. Just as Swami has said, the Mahabharata, the 5 Pandavas are the 5 values. The hundreds of Kauravas are those negative tendencies in our minds and hearts, and that is the battle every day that we go through. So jihad in Islam is about the inner struggle, not the outer one. And when we are able to win every day that jihad, we can win the glory and bounties of Allah. I'd like to share with you the 5 fundamental principles of Islam and show you how they relate to Bhagwan's teachings. The first one is that it is incumbent upon a Muslim to pray 5 times a day. Break of dawn, noon, mid-afternoon, sunset, and in the night. And one Muslim brother asked the Holy Prophet Muhammad, why should we pray 5 times a day? And this is what he said. If you take a bath 5 times a day, the body is always clean. When you dip into prayer 5 times a day, the mind is clean. It remains in divine remembrance of Allah. This is why in the busiest times of the day, you will see Muslims, they will take their little mat and find a little corner and do their namaz. So in the busiest times of the day, they pull themselves away to remember Almighty Allah. So that every moment through the day, in that 5 daily prayers, Allah is being remembered and glorified. It's amazing what you see in the Middle Eastern countries. When is that, especially the mid-afternoon prayer, the prayer where the sun is 12 noon, you see cars on the highway just screech to a stop. All the business is shut down. And for that 3 or 4 minutes, everybody is in congregational prayer. Isn't that amazing? That is what Swami talks about, practical spirituality, weaving the name and form of God into your daily activities so that work becomes worship. That is the beauty of those 5 daily namaz. And then Bhagwan talks about, in Islam, the second principle is zakat or charity. It is incumbent upon every Muslim to give 2.5% of his net earnings to charity. After your basic expenditure is met, you take that and you give it to charity in whatever form. The third one is belief in the oneness of Almighty Allah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. The fourth one is the holy month of Ramadan, where for 30 days Muslims are incumbent to fast from the break of dawn until the time the sun sets. That's 14 hours a day without eating or drinking anything. They're not even allowed to swallow their saliva. It's very challenging. But as Swami said when he opened the mosque, the fasting is not so much on a physical level. You fast. Upavasa, I think it means in here. It means to be near to God and dear to God. That's the true fast. And the fifth principle is going to Mecca, around the holy Kaaba. Just like the Hindus go to the Ganges The Muslims go to Mecca. At least once in your lifetime, you are supposed to go if you can afford it. So one day somebody asked me, Brother Fize, you've been to Mecca? I said, yes, I've been there 30 times. When I go to Satya Sai Baba, I go to Mecca. He says, why do you have to go to the Himalayas and the Ganges and you run after those little lights when the full flame of Satya Sai, of God, is right in front of you? So my dear friends, these are the 5 fundamental principles of Islam. And if practiced sincerely, Swami says, you can realize God.
It is 7:40.
I think it would be good after some more experiences to also invite some questions if you all have. And then at the end I would like to teach one short Islamic song that is very easy to learn and that you can sing in your satsang. But what has really touched me when I looked into the teachings of Satya Sai Baba is the universality of his message. He's not a Hindu, he's not a Muslim, he's not a Christian. He's not come only for the Indians, he's come for the whole of humanity. Look at the form of Satya Sai. He looks more African than Indian, isn't it? That is as he says, he has an inconceivable human form. The only place he has been outside of India is where? Africa. What is the message? I have come for the whole of humanity. So if you look at his teachings, they're so very easy and simple to practice. And the greatest teaching of Bhagwan is about love. Start the day with love, fill the day with love, spend the day with love, end the day with love. That is the way to God. There is only one religion, the religion of love. He says, the self lives by getting and forgetting, but love lives by giving and forgiving. Self is lovelessness, but love is selflessness. So we must live in love. Love all, serve all. That is a mantra. If you practice that alone, you can win the grace of God. When he says love all, what does he mean? We are not limiting the love to one particular religion, one particular color. He says love all of humanity, because God is resident there, and serve all. On service, Bhagwan has one beautiful saying, hands that help are holier than lips that pray. So great is Swami's emphasis on service that he says, if while you are engaged in japa and meditation and someone comes and knocks at your door, you have to leave the japa and meditation and go and serve that person. The spiritual benefits so derived from the service will be much greater than the hour or 2 you may have spent in prayer. 1 hour of community service, Swami says, is better than 1 month of meditation. 1 hour of community service is better than 1 month of meditation. Why? Meditation, it's you alone. Community service incorporates so many others. So service is very close to Swami's heart. He once said, when it comes to talking, many of us are heroes. When it comes to putting it into practice, we are zeros. So sometimes what we need to do is to become examples of Swami's teachings. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. So don't talk the teachings, live the teachings. Be an example of Bhagwan's teachings. So service is very, very close to Swami's heart. In fact, this is the Sri Satya Sai Baba